What really happened in Los Angeles before BTS boarded that flight home to Korea? Why did the members appear so unusually quiet at Incheon Airport? And what secrets are they hiding about the work they just completed in the United States? Could this trip have changed everything we thought we knew about their next album? And why are millions of armies around the world suddenly on edge after noticing something strange in the members' faces as they walked out of the terminal? These are the burning questions that have taken over social media in the past 24 hours. Every timeline, every trending topic, every whisper in the ARMY community seems to lead back to one thing. BTS has returned to Korea after completing their official agenda in Los Angeles, and nothing about this homecoming feels ordinary. From the moment they landed at Incheon International Airport, fans who were lucky enough to be there in person reported an atmosphere that was heavy with both excitement and something else, something unspoken, something mysterious, something that feels like the calm before a storm. At first glance, the scene at Incheon looked like a typical BTS airport arrival. Flashes from cameras lighting up the terminal like fireworks, screams of fans echoing through the walls, and the 7 members, RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, making their way through the crowd with their signature grace and quiet confidence. But those who looked closer noticed details that have set off an avalanche of speculation. Why did Jungkook walk so close to Taehyung, almost as if he was guarding him? Why did Jimin keep glancing back at the group instead of smiling at cameras like he usually does? Why did Namjoon, usually the pillar of calm and leadership, look as though his thoughts were 1,000 miles away? Could it be exhaustion? After all, everyone knows BTS's schedule in Los Angeles was no small feat. They didn't just attend meetings or promotional events. They were there for something bigger, something that required late-night sessions, strict secrecy, and a level of intensity that only a handful of people on Earth can truly comprehend. And now that they've returned, the world is desperate to know. What exactly happened during those long days and nights in LA? Rumors have been swirling for weeks about BTS working on their latest album during this trip, but what no one expected were the emotional stories now surfacing online from insiders who claim that these sessions weren't just about music. They were about breaking boundaries, pushing limits, and revisiting personal struggles that left some members in tears. Was this album recorded under extraordinary circumstances? Did something happen on the flight back that made ARMY worried for Taehyung and Jungkook? And what about the whispers of a collaboration so huge that it could shake the global music industry to its core? Right now, all we have are fragments, videos, photos, fan accounts, and cryptic social media posts. But when you piece them together, a picture begins to emerge. And that picture tells us one undeniable truth. This was not just another trip for BTS. This was something far deeper, far more emotional, and possibly even life-changing for the 7 men who have carried the hopes of millions for over a decade. As the crowd at Incheon erupted in cheers when the first member appeared through the sliding doors, there was a flash of that familiar BTS magic. J-Hope, always the beacon of sunshine, managed to smile despite looking tired. Jin waved briefly, his eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses, but his steps a little slower than usual. Suga kept his head down, his face mostly covered by a mask, while RM clutched a notebook tightly in his hand. What was in it? Lidit? Notes from the sessions in LA? No one knows. And then there was V, walking beside Jungkook, their pace synchronized, Jungkook's gaze flickering toward Taehyung every few seconds like a silent question. Are you okay? Fans who were watching live streams of the arrival noticed it immediately. Why does Jungkook look so protective of Taehyung? One ARMY tweeted, while another wrote, something happened on that plane. I can feel it. JK looks worried, and Tae seems pale. Within minutes, hashtags like hashtag BTS in Korea, hashtag welcome home BTS, and even hashtag what happened on the plane began trending worldwide. The truth is, we don't have the full story yet, but what we do know is that this comeback is shaping up to be unlike anything BTS has ever done before. And if the emotional weight we saw on their faces yesterday is any indication, The world is about to experience music that doesn't just break records, it breaks hearts. The mystery of Los Angeles. What really happened during those sessions? The moment BTS boarded that flight to Los Angeles weeks ago, speculation erupted like wildfire. Why was this trip shrouded in such secrecy? Why did HYB give no detailed schedule, no hints, no typical promotional agenda that fans could track? For a group as globally visible as BTS, the silence was deafening. And yet, here they were, slipping into LAX under the cover of night, dressed in casual comfort clothes, their faces half hidden behind masks and caps. Some ARMY said it felt like the beginning of a new era, one that would require complete focus and perhaps emotional sacrifice. So what exactly was happening in those Los Angeles studios? Why did some insiders describe it as the most intense recording sessions BTS has ever done? Multiple anonymous sources, people who claim to have been near the studios, have shared fragments of the story, and if these whispers are true, then ARMY is in for a comeback that could redefine BTS forever. One source hinted that the members worked late into the night, often leaving the studio as the sun was rising over LA. Another said that the producers brought in for this project were not just from Korea but from across the globe, top names in pop, R&B, and even alternative genres. This aligns with theories ARMY has been building for months, that BTS's next album will not just be another record, but a global sound revolution, something entirely new and groundbreaking. But that's not all. Some reports claim that these sessions were deeply personal, pushing each member to explore vulnerabilities they've never shared before. Could this mean the lyrics will reveal stories they've kept hidden from fans for years? But there's a darker side to this narrative. Exhaustion, pressure, a level of intensity that can break even the strongest spirits. Some insiders claim that one member, whose name they refuse to reveal, broke down in tears during one late-night session, overwhelmed by the weight of expectations. Was it Taehyung? Was it Jungkook? Was it Jimin, who has always worn his emotions on his sleeve? We may never know for sure, but the clues keep piling up. Fans began connecting dots when J-Hope posted a single photo on Instagram during the trip, a shot of the studio floor, dimly lit, with a pair of sneakers and a water bottle in the corner.
No caption, no explanation.
Just an image that spoke volumes. Long hours, physical strain, and an environment where music isn't just created, it's fought for. Another clue came from Namjoon's Weverse post, where he wrote, "Some nights feel heavier than others, but those are the nights that remind you why you started." What was he referring to? Was this just about music or something more profound? And then there's Taehyung. Fans noticed that his updates during the LA trip were almost non-existent, except for a single, haunting Instagram story. A black and white photo of city lights through a window with the caption, "Even the brightest stars need rest." It was beautiful, yes, but also cryptic. Was he simply being poetic, or was this a subtle cry for understanding? By the time the sessions were over, it seems clear that something inside BTS had shifted. They didn't just make an album, they lived it. They bled for it. They carried the weight of their own stories into every note, every lyric, every beat. And now, as they walk through Incheon Airport with that mix of pride and exhaustion in their eyes, ARMY knows one thing. This comeback isn't just another chapter. It's the start of a whole new book. But what about that flight back to Korea? That's where the real mystery begins. Fans are convinced something happened midair, something so significant that Jungkook's protective behavior toward Taehyung at the airport wasn't just about fatigue. Could this be connected to the rumors of Taehyung feeling unwell during the trip? Was there a moment on that plane that none of us were supposed to see? The flight back. Did something happen between Taehyung and Jungkook on the plane? By now, every ARMY has seen the airport videos. The ones that sent the fandom into overdrive within minutes of BTS stepping off the plane at Incheon. At first, everything seemed routine. The members walking together, their managers forming a protective shield, flashes from hundreds of cameras lighting up the terminal. But the moment Taehyung and Jungkook appeared, the mood shifted. Jungkook, usually confident and relaxed, stayed unusually close to Taehyung, his posture tense, his hand brushing against Tae's arm as if ready to catch him. And Taehyung? He looked pale, quiet, and more reserved than usual, his head slightly bowed as he adjusted his mask with shaky fingers.